Hello and thanks for joining me at this football trading strategy workshop. It's been a while since we've done one of these and they're always fun. So look, if you're new around here, the strategy workshop is we're going to start out by testing an old classic, and then we're going to maybe get some ideas from the test, and then we're going to start to test some variations, and by the time we're done we could have a profitable strategy or two, or a potential profitable strategy or two, or at least some more ideas to test. That's the whole idea behind this. And as I said, we're going to start with an old classic and then we're going to start to put some variations on it. So in case you didn't see, we're going to be starting with the 15-minute system, and with this we will be laying over 3.5 goals. And as you know, when you lay over 3.5 goals, if there's no goals in the start of the match, that price is going to rise. And then if there are no goals, we can take profits on 15 minutes. However, what if there is a goal? So if a goal is scored, we exit by leaving all red on the over 3.5 goals outcome. And what that does is, if there is under 3.5 goals at the final score, at the final result, then we are not going to make any loss. If it does go over 3.5 goals, we will then make a loss. So we've got a chance of not actually taking a loss on the trade with this. So we're going to get into it. We're going to test it. We're going to test it thoroughly, and then we're going to see how that goes, and then potentially get some ideas, and then maybe test another strategy. As said, it's just going to be a lot of fun. Like I said, I hope you got your nice cold beer at the ready. And we're going to be testing this with the football trading simulator. So I know some of you already have this. So if you've already got your football trading simulator, then of course you can look at the test we're about to do, and then you could dive into the simulator yourself and give it a go. The main idea behind the simulator is that we can test these football trading strategies by not risking any money. So we can save money. We can also save time because it's a lot faster. And I'm pretty sure you've already looked at the length of time of this video, and we're going to run a pretty decent test on this. And inevitably, the ultimate result is it's just going to allow you to trade smarter. We can try all sorts of strategies on the simulator. We can make all sorts of mistakes. Not going to cost us any money. Not going to cost us that much time, because we're going to find out just how bad some of these strategies are very, very quickly. And then we can refine what we've got and then head into the markets. Anyway, I hope you're ready. Go grab a nice cold beer and let's get into it. Okay, we're ready to go on this. The 15-minute system. We've got our strategy in the tracker there called the 15-minute system. You know the rules. We are going to just start to move forward and just trade whatever matches come up. That's the initial idea behind this. So we've got Huddersfield against Bournemouth, and we're going to lay over 3.5 goals. Now we can just move that clock forward and see where we are after 15 minutes. And we're in profit on this one. So we can lock in the profit on this one. So nice, easy start for us, locking in a profit. So let's press the cash out and get that locked in. And then we will just save that trade. We'll get that trade locked in and get it saved. In the end, 3-0 to Bournemouth, as you can see on that one. So that should be saved, and that should be then added to our bank, as you can see. And then we are going to bring up the next match. So nice, positive start for us. This match here, it looks like we're off to Mexico. We're going to lay over 3.5 goals there at 3.45. Let's just move the clock forward 15 and see what happens. And yeah, we got a profit on this one. So let's get the profit locked in, and that will make it 2 out of 2. So keep in mind what we're doing for this. We're trading this blindly. Remember, we're not looking at any pre-match statistics for these matches. We're not looking at any odds range either. We are just taking the matches as they come, and we're trading them. That's always the good initial thing to do. And look, this finished 3-1, so it actually finished over 3.5 goals in this one. So that's always the good initial thing to do when you're testing a strategy, is to just test it blindly on whatever odds ranges come up, and then you're going to start to maybe notice some patterns, and then you can start to exclude some odds ranges. So that's the idea there as well. So this one looks like we've got a match from Portugal. Okay, let's have a look at this. Laying over 3.5 goals at 3.65. Let's see if we make it 15 minutes. And in this one we don't. So now we will back over 3.5 goals, and we'll back it here at 2.42. Now if it finishes over 3.5 goals, we will potentially lose 123 on this one. So let's get to the end of the game, and let's see from here what happens. And yeah, that's not looking good. A 5-0 win in the end for Guimarães. So anyway, we'll take the loss on that one, and it's gonna not be good for us. It's gonna wipe out the previous losses and now put us in a negative on this trade, on this strategy anyway. So yeah, not a good start. We got 2 quick wins, and then yeah, now we're in a negative. So anyway, let's go again. Let's find another match to look at, and we'll give that a go, and let's see if we can start to claw this back. So it looks like we're off to Japan for this one. Tochigi versus Iwata, and we will lay over 3.5 goals in this one. Let's move it forward 15 minutes, and let's take a look, and let's see what happens from here. And we've got a profit, and so we will just get that profit locked in, and it's going to start to maybe claw us back. Let's see what happens from here. Let's just get it locked in. And then we want to end the game and get that trade saved in. So in the end, a 2-1 to Iwata on this one. So the goals did come, but we got through the first 15 minutes without that goal. So let's see what happens. Let's try and get another match loaded up. And let's see where we're off to on this one. This one looks like, is this Sweden? Norby against Trelleborgs. So let's go in, lay over 3.5 goals, 3.65, and let's take a look at this and move it forward, and we got some more profits again. Okay, so another win after this, and then we're back to break even on this one. So anyway, let's get this locked in, and then we're going to add this to the tally, and then we're also just going to double check that everything is tallying up also. So let's get it in, end game, and save the trade. And let's have a quick look at the tracker here to just see how this is developing. So we can see £2,000 bank, and we've had 5 trades. 4 have won, 1 have lost, and we're in the negative. So it's not the best start to this. But anyway, let's keep plugging away, and let's see what happens from here. And we will lay over 3.5 goals again on this one. And let's see. This is from Serie B from the looks of it. Pisa against Pordenone. So move it forward 15 minutes, and it looks like we're getting out with a profit on this one. And so you can see from a very early stage with this strategy, it's going to be the strategy where you're going to pick up lots of frequent wins. 1 loss is going to set you back a lot of those wins. That can obviously be frustrating. And it's going to be very much dependent on your own trading style, whether you're willing to accept that. There's lots of people who are willing to accept that as long as it is long-term profitable. There's lots of people who just don't like the look of that. They'd much rather have it the other way around. Maybe lots of small losses and then 1 big win puts you into the profit. So a lot of that depends on your trading style. And again, that is why you would want to test out these strategies in advance. Okay, we've now traded about 6 or 7 matches. We've got a very good idea of the type of strategy we're looking at now. So this is from Japan. Let's see if we can get into profit now. If we make it to 15 minutes, let's see what happens. We will be in profit, and we've made it 15 minutes, and this now should put us back into profit. So just press the cash out, get this locked in. We're going to lock in £23 on this one, and it should, well, it's going to make us back positive again, which is good. But obviously you can see it's a bit of a grinder doing this sort of strategy, going in 15 minutes. The main idea behind testing this strategy out is you would want to consider, well, should we stay in the market for longer and try and make a bigger profit when we do make a profit? So currently we're making £23. The biggest potential loss is going to be if that early goal is scored. Now, if you stayed in the market longer, yeah, you still got the threat of the goal going in. However, you could make a bigger profit. Now, if the goal goes in after a certain amount of time, the loss is going to be smaller. But anyway, that's something to consider. So we now have a match here from Poland. So let's get involved. We're going to lay over 3.5 goals from Poland. Let's move the clock forward 15 minutes. And let's see, any more positives? No. So we've got an early goal, which now we will put all the loss on the over 3.5 goals outcome. Now we're going to move this forward to the end of the match, and let's see how this ends. 90 minutes, and yeah, it looks like that is going to be just a 1-1 draw. Okay, I mean, we can move it forward to 95 minutes just to double check, but I think we are good. So it's going to be a break-even end game. We'll end the game and save the trade on this one. I do wonder if it's going to save the trade when it's a scratch trade. We'll have to look into that. Maybe let's have a look at the tracker. And yeah, it does look like it saved it. So we've done 8 trades. We've won 6, lost 1, and then there is 1 break-even trade, which was just that one right there. So yeah, that's very interesting, and it just shows everything's working fine with this simulator. So anyway, now we've got a match from League 1 or League 2, Walsall versus Colchester. You'd think this one, surely this one's going to be a winner. Let's lay over 3.5 goals. Let's move this forward 15 minutes, and let's see. And we've got a profit in this one, so let's take the profit out. And yeah, get it locked in, £25. We'll add that to the bank. So after this, so we've got 8 trades. We're going to get up, this is trade number 9. We'll just get this locked in, and then we'll do one more, and then we'll just do a review. Interestingly, this one finished 4-0. So this is what you like to see. So if we're going in with a trade of laying over 3.5 goals, we've got out with a profit. Now the match is actually finished over 3.5 goals. So our bet would have lost, but our trade won. These are the things you want to look for, okay? When you're deciding whether to have a bet or whether to trade, you want to see that there's some sort of advantage by trading. Trading is obviously going to be more manual. So you want to see things like that. So that is obviously good to see. We got out with the profit, and the bet would have lost. So anyway, let's take a look at this match. This is from Colombia, and we're going to lay over 3.5 goals. Very big price here, 6.2. So probably the biggest price we've done. So this is either going to give us a very easy win, or it's going to give us a pretty dramatic loss. So let's see. Trade number 10. Let's move it forward 15 minutes, and let's have a look at this. And all right, we're out with a profit. So anyway, this we'll get this locked in, and we'll get it added to the bank, and then we will do a quick review. So let's just press this cash out, and then we're going to go to end game and save the trade. So let's take a look at this, and let's see what the final score was on this one. It was a 0-0. So yeah, we needn't have really worried. So anyway, let's move it. Let's look at the tracker once this resets. So in the end, we have completed the 10 trades on the 15-minute system. So we've come out with a profit, but it's pretty clear to see the flaw. I mean, look, 10 trades, 8 winners, 1 loss, 1 scratch trade. our average win was £24. Our average loss when we take a loss is £123. So you'd have to test this a lot more to get an idea of the true long-term potential from this. Look, we did make a profit, but you can see the flaw is that you've got to have a very high strike rate on this. Now, something we can do, we did estimate our risk per trade was £200, but actually we can see it was 123. So let's just change that, and then we can just take a look at this. So we can see our average entry odds was 4.1, and if we're going with our risk per trade have been 123, we can see it's actually a 5% ROI. So something we do suggest is if you're going to test these strategies, look for an ROI 5% or above. That will start to show you've got a statistically significant strategy which will hold up in the long term. Now, we've only done 10 trades, so before anyone starts and says, oh, it's a small sample, well, yeah, we can't be here all day. That's the main idea behind these quick, short, sharp videos. But you've got an idea of testing the strategy. We can see the flaws. Now it's up to you to decide whether or not you would want to continue with this sort of strategy. Would you be a little bit nervous knowing, you know what, one loss is going to wipe out what looks like 5 wins, and you got to have 5 wins to get it back? Of course, in the long term, you could get very comfortably ahead if you go on a nice run with this. But anyway, you'd have to do more trades. You'd have to test it out, and you would have to see how comfortable you are with it. And so before we run the next test, good news for those who have wanted to get hold of this simulator for themselves. We do now have copies available, and it's at the link in the description of this video. Okay, the football trading simulator, it will work right away via Microsoft Excel. You just upload the file and then you can get going. So if you've got Microsoft Excel, you can get going on this right away. And remember, the key idea is that you're going to allow this simulator to, well, allow you to practice your football trading if you're a beginner, but also if you're intermediate or even advanced, you can use it to test new strategies, and you're going to save time and save money. Okay, you can trade a whole match within seconds, no money risked per trade on those inevitable expensive mistakes, and you can trade a whole round of matches within 10 minutes or so. So it's a really great tool for football traders, both young and new. And I know that many people have been trying to get hold of this for a very long time. It's been available, then it's not been available, and there's been all sorts of issues. But it is available right now. As said, click the link in the description and you can get going with this right away. If you've got Microsoft Excel, it's going to be no problem. Just upload the file and you can get going. You can test the strategy that we are testing today. So anyway, that's for those who want to get hold of this. Let's get back on with it, and let's test this strategy even more. Now, the big question from running that little test is, well, at least for me anyway, is, well, what would happen if we stayed in the market longer? A lot of football traders tend to err on the side of, well, let's just get in and get out as soon as we can. Take whatever profits we can. Obviously, we don't want to get caught by a goal, but as we know, staying in the market longer, you could make a bigger profit. You're going to raise your risk of getting caught by a goal, but could the profits potentially outweigh that risk? Well, anyway, only one way to find out. Let me just explain the 30-minute system, but it's not that much different. We're going to lay over 3.5 goals. We're going to take profits on 30 minutes. If we can get through that 30 minutes goalless, then we can take our profits. If a goal is scored, we leave all the red on the over 3.5 goals outcome, and we're only going to lose if there are more than 3.5 goals in the match. So we're not going to definitely take a loss if we do get caught by a goal. So anyway, going to be interesting. Go grab a nice cold beer and let's get into it. Okay, let's give this a go just to show you we're all set up here, the 30-minute system. Let's give it a go. We're in the J League for our first trade, and there we are, over 3.5 goals. We're going to lay it at 3.2, and so we will move the clock forward, but we're going to do it like this. We're going to move it 10 minutes each just to get an idea. Okay, so 10 minutes, we're good. 20 minutes, because do remember we will exit immediately after the goal is scored. Let's see if we make it to 30 minutes. Okay, we've made it to 30 minutes and we will get that locked in. So you can see we're making a bigger profit. We are staying in the market for longer, So we are probably going to get caught out by more goals in this little test, but the profits are now bigger. Okay, we're now taking out 50% from our stake. So we're going in £100 stake, we're extracting around 50%. So anyway, should be interesting. We're going to end the game there and save the trade. In the end, it was a final score of 3-0 to C Osaka, which is interesting. So anyway, let's just get this locked in and then we will give it a go. A little bit of a delay. Everything does run slow when we are recording, doing the screen recording at the same time as using the simulator. But anyway, let's get another match up and see what the next one does. So anyway, nice positive start, and this one is Bohemians against can't even pronounce that name. But anyway, let's move it forward. Let's see what happens here. Remember, we're probably gonna get more losses this time around. And 10 minutes, we're good. 20 minutes, let's see. Oh, we're good. Are we gonna make it to 30 minutes and make it 2 out of 2? Oh, we are. Okay. All right. So let's go. Let's get it locked in. I mean, I'm roughly estimating that we're going to get, say, 40% of the matches are going to have a goal in that first half an hour. And then we're obviously going to have to deploy our exit strategy. But anyway, this has been a good start so far. So we'll get that locked in. And that was a 0-0 in the end, that match. So didn't even have to worry, really, on it. So that's interesting. Always interesting to see. And this is the sort of thing to keep in mind. I mean, at the end of the day, this match was a 0-0. If you were watching this match live, you were following the in-play stats, it might have given you all the clues of it potentially being a 0-0. You could have stayed in the market for longer and tried to race the winning trade. Cut the losers short, race those winning trades. So anyway, let's wait for this to reform, and then we're going to try and bring up another market. Let's press this, simulate match, and let's see what match we bring up. Okay, and this is from Spanish Segunda. Surely this is going to be a guaranteed winner, right? Spanish Segunda. Every time I trade the Spanish Segunda, there's never any goals at all. So let's see what happens. We're laying over 3.5 goals. We're laying it at 4.1. Let's move it forward 10 minutes. We're good after 10 minutes. Let's see after 20 minutes. We're good after 20 minutes. Can we make this 3 out of 3 winning trades? Oh, we have. Okay, well, like I said, when I trade the Spanish Segunda, it feels like it's always a 0-0. So anyway, let's get this locked in. This is going to be £49 of profit to add. And you can see we got in at 4.1. The odds are now out to 9 on this one. So let's get this locked in. Click on end game and save the trade. We'll get this saved in. And then obviously we do want to double check that the tracker is saving everything as planned. So we're going to have a quick look at that once it resettles. And there it is on the tracker. So 3 trades, 3 wins. It's been a very solid start to this one. But I did say we have to expect there's going to be more losses with this particular strategy. We're staying in the market for longer. So anyway, we've got Celtic versus Aberdeen, and you'd think there's going to be goals in this one. Celtic, probably a strong favourite. Let's see what happens. Let's see if we can make it out. So let's move it forward 10 minutes. We're good after 10 minutes. Let's move it forward to 20. And there is the goal. Okay, so there is the goal, and yeah. So now we're going to have to deploy our strategy. So let's try and find exactly when that goal was. We're going to use the next goal button, and it was exactly on 20 minutes. Okay, so let's see. We will now back over 3.5 goals, and it will leave us with a potential loss of £84 if we go over 3.5 goals. Let's move it forward to the end of the match and take a look at this. And it was a 2-1. It was a 2-1. So that is good. Okay, we didn't actually take a loss on that one in the end. So we will get that one locked in and then add it to the tally. And let's keep it moving. Let's go on with another match and see what develops from here. So that's good to see. That's the plan with the strategy, isn't it? We get that early goal. We surrender our trade. We cut our trade short. But we leave ourselves in a position where we might not take a loss. Okay? So anyway, let's find another market. And we got this one here, which looks like a match from Croatia. So Dinamo Zagreb against Hajduk Split. We're going to lay over 3.5 goals here at 3.9. Now let's see what happens. After the last one, hopefully we get an easy win, right? Let's move it forward 10 minutes. We're looking good after 20 minutes. We're looking good. Can we get a nice easy win on this one? If we get to 30 minutes. Ah, we got it. Okay. All right, let's press the cash out and yeah, let's get this locked in. So the over 3.5 goal odds out to 8.6 as you can see, and we will get this locked in and added to our tally. Click on end game, save trade, and it's looking quite good so far with the 30-minute adjustment to this. As you can see, we've had 6 trades, 5 winners, 1 scratch trade, no losses just yet. I mean, obviously we're doing a small sample. Let's just get the next trade going. So remember, we are doing a small sample, so the losses will come with this, I'm pretty sure. So we got a match from Brazil. We're laying over 3.5 goals here, 3.55 at kickoff. Let's move it forward 10 minutes. We're good after 10 minutes. Let's move it forward to 20 minutes. And we're good after 20 minutes. Let's see if we can get another winner added to the bank. Or we're gonna have to do this the hard way. All right, we've got another winner. Okay, another winner. So we're on a bit of a nice streak with this strategy. As said, you've got to expect these losses are going to come around the corner. It's just a matter of probability. But yeah, when you're trading, you're going to get these nice streaks. And what is most interesting, and we'll just click on end game and save trade. But what is most interesting is that if you do remember the 15-minute system, if we took if there was a goal within that first 15 minutes, then our potential loss was much higher as compared to if we get a goal in the 16-minute to 30-minute period. So if we do get caught by a goal after 16 minutes, our potential loss is going to be much lower, like you saw earlier on with the potential £80 loss it would have been on, I think it was the Celtic match. So that's a plus with this version of the strategy, okay? We are staying in for longer, but it's not like it's more riskier, okay? So anyway, let's wait for this to process, and then we will find another market. That last one was from Brazil. Brazil would be a good league for this sort of strategy. Now here's a league which might not be so good. This is the Dutch league, but we're going to give it a go. And as you know, for the strategy test, we're not doing filtering. We're not doing any pre-match research. We're not looking at the XG in play. This is just to see, as a minimum, how the strategy can do. And so far, not doing too badly. So now we're here at the 20-minute mark. If we make it to 30 minutes, we're going to make a profit. But even if we get caught by a goal in this range, the potential loss is not too bad. Let's see what happens if we make it to 30 minutes. And we did. Okay, we made it. Another profit. Let's get it locked in. And it's going to start to process. It's going to be a £51.19 profit. Let's get that done. And we'll get this locked in. Okay. It's going to be very interesting if we make it to the end of this little mini test without taking a loss. As I did say at the start, we're going to have more losses on this one. So far, no losses, which is interesting. But of course, main reason by using a tool like the simulator is that you're going to test this for a lot more than 10 matches like we're doing here today. And you're going to get a very good idea of how it can behave in the long term. And that match was a 3-0. 3-0 in the end, from the looks of it. And so let's bring up another match and see what happens from here. But the main idea is that, yeah, you're going to test this via the simulator, and yeah, you might have a good streak right now, but if you get to, say, 100 trades, a test of 100 matches, you're going to start to get an idea of how the losing streaks can happen, and then you're much more prepared for when they do happen in the real markets. Okay, some newbie traders might see this streak and then they might start to overstake, and then they might pay the price. But anyway, this is an interesting market. The over 3.5 goals is odds on, so let's give it a go. As said, we're just doing whatever matches come up, and we'll get a good idea for this one. So let's see what happens. You'd think that this match is going to be full of goals, right? Tromsø versus Fredrikstad. It's from Norway. You made it through the first 10 minutes on this one. And there we go. Okay, we got a goal. So you would think if we were ever going to get a loser, it's going to be on this match. However, it doesn't look like it would be the biggest one if it happens, okay? So potential £33 loss if we make it to the end of this one. Let's move it forward to the end of the match, plus the time added on. And we still didn't get a loss. It was only 3-0 in the end. So that's very interesting. We'll end game, save trade, and get that locked in and added. And you can see our bank is it's beginning to grow. Okay, £2,000 bank up to 2,310. So let's get this saved in, and then we're going to have a quick review of this. Obviously, no losses yet. Not for the want of trying. And here we are on the tracker. So we've completed 10 trades with this. We haven't had a loss yet. So yeah, you'd think that I'd set that up in that way, but actually that's not what I want to see. I actually want to see losses. We do know when we enter the real market that we're going to get those losses. So what I'm going to do is we will carry on with this, and we're going to carry on until we get a loss. Okay, let's keep going. Let's keep going on this one. So let's move this forward, and we'll get the answer very quickly. Let's move it forward to 30 minutes and see what happens here. All right, another profit. So look, if you can manage to profile matches with your pre-match research and look for those matches which are going to be slow burners, could be goalless for the first 30 minutes, then from the looks of it, you could do very, very well with this strategy in the real markets. But anyway, we will add this to the tally, and in the end, look, 3-1 final score. So it was over 3.5 goals, which is interesting. And like I said, if your trade can win but the bet loses, then it's a good sign there's some sort of edge with the trade that you have. Okay, if you're trading on markets where a bet would also win, then you have to ask the question about whether or not it's just better just to have the bet. But anyway, we're going to get this profit locked in, and then we're going to do another. Okay, so what I think we'll do is we'll go up to 15 trades or the next loser. So we'll do that. So we've got another market here. Okay, Bolton against Sheffield Wednesday. Let's go, and we're going to try and get a quick answer. Let's go straight to the 30 minutes on this one, and another profit. Okay, so yeah, we're definitely riding a very, very nice hot streak with this strategy so far, and it's going to be more profits for the bottom line. So I mean, the great thing to kind of know is that even if we do take a loss on one of these trades, it's not like it's going to wipe out all the previous wins, and that was a bit of the flaw with the 15-minute system, as we know. Anyway, looks like it ends in a 2-0 win to Sheffield Wednesday, so it was under 3.5 goals anyway. So anyway, we'll get that locked in, and I think we've got a few more to go, and then we will end this this little test. And believe me, I want to try and get some losses, because you want to see how those losses look, and this is definitely not normal to get this many wins in a row. But anyway, these matches are thrown at us at random, so this reflects the real life, whereas in you're going to pick out these matches in real life not knowing what's going to happen on them. So anyway, let's try another one. That was Bolton against Sheffield Wednesday, I think from the Championship. Let's try and bring up another market. Let's see what happens from here. And we got one from the Dutch League. So you would think, surely, the Dutch League, full of goals. Full of goals. This is surely going to be a potential losing trade for us. So let's move it forward to 30 minutes. And it's not looking good. 3 goals after 30 minutes. Okay, so anyway, we got to go. We're going to go back to kickoff. We're going to find when that first goal was, and we will exit after the first goal. And with 3 goals after 30 minutes, I've got a feeling this is going to be a loser, isn't it? Right. So anyway, let's back over 3.5 goals there. It's going to give us a potential loss of £77. Okay, so let's move it forward to, remember, 30 minutes. There was already 3 goals. Let's move this clock forward to 95 minutes. I'm pretty sure this is going to be a loser, and it was just about. Okay, so anyway, we will end that game and save the trade in and get that locked in, and then we're going to have a quick look at the tracker just to assess everything. So in the end, obviously we can see this in comparison to the earlier 15-minute system. So we can see what our risk per trade was. It was 77 from the losing trade. Obviously with more losers, that number would adjust. But what's interesting, look at the ROI. We did speak about trying to get an ROI above 5% to know that a strategy has legs. Now the 15-minute system, 5% ROI, you could see it was a little bit on the borderline. This system, 33% ROI, so it's a nice solid head start with it. Our average win was £41, our average loss was 77. It's a lot more of a sustainable risk reward strategy. If you look here at the average win on the 15-minute system, it was £24, but your average loss was 123. So obviously you would want to test this more and get more data, work out your true average loss and your bit more of a true ROI. I don't see that ROI increasing. As said, I expect there will be more losers with this strategy than we would get on the 15-minute system. We didn't really see that in our little mini test, but of course we can only test for a limited amount of time. This video is already hitting 20 minutes plus. So yeah, we can't be here all day. The main idea for you, when you get hold of the simulator, or if you already have the simulator, if you like the look of this strategy, test it yourself, and of course you can start to put some variations on it. Okay, so you can see after 10 trades we made £336 of profit on the 30-minute system, £70 of profit on the 15-minute system. So it's interesting because the 15-minute system, it might feel safer because you're in and out very quickly, but what's more profitable? We can see it very early on. It's probably more profitable to stay in for 30 minutes, which a lot of people might be nervous about because they're nervous about getting caught by a goal. So anyway, very, very interesting. And in light of what we're seeing with regards to staying in the market for longer, we're going to test another strategy, which is going to be an interesting twist on this theme of the 30-minute system of staying in the market for longer. But before we begin on that, as you can see, this football trading simulator is a pretty fun toy, and if you did want to get hold of it yourself, the link is in the description of this video for you to grab it. We do now have copies available after it not being available for a very long time. And all you need to make it work is Microsoft Excel. So if you've got Excel, then it should work right away. If you don't have Excel, it's very easy to get Microsoft Excel. And you just upload the football trading simulator file, and then you can get going and you can test your own strategies. As you're seeing on this video, you can practice your own football trading. And that is the key idea. You can save time, save money, and you can basically have hours of fun with this. You can obviously test one strategy, then you could go back and trade the same match in a different way to see if there's a better strategy. You can test your theories out also. That's one of the best things with it. Sometimes it's good to just satisfy your curiosity, you know, and you think, sure, this strategy would work, and then you give it a go.
well, you can give it a go instantly on the simulator. But anyway, as I said, it's a great tool for football traders, both young and new. You're going to have hours of fun with this. And yeah, if you want it, click the link in the description. But anyway, look, we've tested out 2 strategy variations so far, and there are questions, and we want to answer those questions.
The big question I had was what would happen if we really raced our profits? So it's all fine exiting after the first goal, but if you recall from our tests, a lot of those matches weren't actually finishing over 3.5 goals anyway. So should we exit after the first goal? What about exiting after the second goal, or even the third goal, or something like that? So anyway, with this variation, we will be laying over 3.5 goals at kickoff. Now, here's the thing. We're going to take profits on 90 minutes. Okay? We're going to try and take profits on 90 minutes. Now, if 2 goals are scored, we will leave all red on the over 3.5 goals outcome. Now, there is another outcome which actually isn't listed on here. If 2 goals are scored and we're in a green position, we will take profits at that time. So we're going to enter the market at kickoff. After the first goal, we're not going to do anything. We're going to let it run. Only on the second goal do we take action. Now, if we don't get to a second goal, we're going to get to 90 minutes. We're going to make our full 100% profit. If we get to that second goal, if it's a red screen, we leave all red on the over 3.5 goals outcome. So we still got a chance to not take any loss. If 2 goals are scored and it's green, we will take the green. We'll take the profit. So we're set up and ready to go on what we're calling the 90-minute system. And so this is going to be an interesting one. We've got this first match, Burton against Accrington Stanley. Who are they? And we will lay over 3.5 goals here, 3.95. And we're going to have to use the next goal button to see what happens from here. And that's not a bad start. That's not a bad start at all. Okay. We made it all the way through the 90 minutes without there even being a goal. So that means, and that's kind of the thought process behind this particular iteration, is that if there are no goals, we could make 100% of our profit. Why would we exit if there's no goals at all? Anyway, we're just going to get that in, and similar, if there's only 1 goal in the match, we could just stay in and maybe make 100%. Obviously, as explained earlier on, it's when we get the 2 goals situation that we will have to take action and exit the market. So anyway, let's get this saved in, and it should be saved in to the 90-minute system on our strategy, and we'll look to bring up a new market, and then we will go again. So this is going to be an interesting one, and I'm not really sure how this is going to go. Okay, I would expect we're going to get more losers this way, but then I did say that about the last one. So anyway, let's see what happens. This is all, a lot of this is going to come down to the goal timings, so it's going to be interesting. Anyway, we've got this match which is from France League 2. So we're going to use the next goal button to guide us through this, and we'll see how this one develops. There you go, 33 minutes, early goal, or early-ish goal after 33 minutes. Now, that second goal, this is where we're going to have to take action. Let's see what happens from here. Let's press next goal. And that's interesting. We got the second goal. We still are in a profitable outcome on the 3.5 goals market. So we will lock in the profit on this one. Let's get it locked in. And this is a potentially losing scenario where we had 2 goals scored against us. However, the timing of the goals has helped us, as you can see here. 68 minutes on the clock. If that second goal arrives then, we can still take a profit from this. So there wasn't really too much that was stressful about this particular trade. Anyway, we'll get it locked in and we'll go again. But this is the main idea behind testing out all these strategies. You can really get a very quick idea, as you can see here, how these strategies can play out in the actual matches. Now, in real life, you'd have to sit down, trade a whole 90-minute match over the 2-hour period, and then you might get your answers then. But you've got a lot of these answers already within just 3 or 4 minutes, and we're going to keep going, and we can answer some more questions surrounding this strategy as we move forward. So anyway, is it saving the trade, or are we looking to get a new market? Let me see what's going on here. Okay, it was saving in. We're going to try and load up a new market and go from there. Sometimes you've got to be a little bit patient with the software. At the same time, trying to use the screen recorder and use the software at the same time is going to drastically slow things down. So do bear with me. All right, we've got a market here. This is Lille against Monaco from the French League, and let's process this. Let's go next goal and see how long we can go. So the first goal comes on the 42nd minute. We can take a green after that first goal. This is something to keep in mind with regards to the strategy. We get the second goal on the 69th minute, and we're still in green. So this is great. Now you can just, as we practice the strategy, you can start to also get an idea for how would you profile matches that will fit this strategy. And ideally, from the looks of this, you want to find those slow burners, or those matches where we're probably expecting the goals to arrive late. Okay, now this one, final score, Lille 1, Monaco 2. So we would have won our over 3.5 goals lay, but it would have been clearly a little bit hairy. So anyway, we will add that in to our bank and to our tally, and then we'll look to trade another one. And let's bring up another match. And so, as mentioned, as we progress, you're going to get the idea of the best case scenarios for your strategy. And we can see here, if you get that second goal in the second half, it's not too bad. We can still take a profit from this. So anyway, this is AFC Wimbledon against Harrogate, I think from League 2. And early goal in this one, very early goal after 8 minutes. So this is not the great scenario that we want. So let's see where the next goal, what it does for us. 58 minutes for the second goal. And so we will cash out. Okay, so we'll cash out and take the loss on this one. It's a small loss of around £13. So let's get that secured in. But again, it fits with what we're learning about this strategy so far, that if we get the second goal in the second half, then yeah, we're in a position where we could take a small profit, or in this particular scenario, a small loss. So this is interesting to learn, and just keep in mind for the strategy. And of course, if you want to do any sort of iteration with the strategy, I'm already personally getting a few ideas for a few more things we could do with this. But anyway, we'll keep going with our little test. We got a new market here. This is a Swedish match, I do believe, the Golfers against Östersunds. So let's go. We're going to lay over 3.5 goals here at kickoff. Let's see. Let's try and get a nice easy win. That would be great. All right, another early goal, 25 minutes. And let's see. Let's see when the second goal comes. This is the crucial part of this. And the second goal arrives late. So we can still take a profit out of this. So this is very interesting information. And it does start to make you ask questions with regards to trading these sorts of markets. If you're getting out after the first goal, is it really worth it? If you're getting out after the first goal, are you potentially costing yourself profits by doing that? You know, so lots of questions. We're getting a lot of answers, but we're getting more questions at the same time. So anyway, that one was a final score of 2-0. So we'll get that locked in, and then we're going to try and bring up another market. Or actually, let's take a look at the tracker first, because we're about 5 trades in on this. And so you can see we are 5 trades in, 4 winners, 1 loss, 80% win rate, and yeah, average win, average loss. So yeah, not going too badly so far. Anyway, let's keep going. Let's do 5. Well, let's bring up another market, and let's do another 5. And Okay, this is an interesting one. So this is from the Dutch League. The over 3.5 goals, 2.38 is a pretty short price. So there's pros and cons to that, but you've got to expect this is going to be a match full of goals. Probably not conducive. Oh, wow. Okay. First goal comes on the 93rd minute. So, yeah, that's interesting. Going against the market. I mean, we're actually going to make 100% on that one. So that's great. And that's the idea behind the strategy, is to leave ourselves in that position where we could race that winner and make 100% of our stake. No trading out if there's no goals or only one goal. We're only going to trade out in a potential losing position after there's 2 goals. So anyway, let's get that locked in, and we're going to try and bring up another market. Now we've got Inter Miami against the New York Red Bulls. Let's give it a go. And MLS. Very strange league. It's one of those leagues where you get matches where they're either going to be full of goals or they just end up a 0-0. So anyway, let's see what happens with this one. Lots of early goals in that league as well, it seems. Anyway, let's see what happens here. All right, we've got an early goal. 18 minutes, and New York Red Bulls have taken the lead. Now let's see what the second goal does. Okay, this is interesting. So now let's leave the loss on the over 3.5 goals outcome, and let's see if we go over 3.5. All right, the third goal on the 65th minute, so this isn't looking good. We're going to potentially take a loss on this one, aren't we? Yeah, 4th goal, and that will be the end of this one, a 4-0 defeat. Yeah, so that is going to eat in to our bottom line, that sort of scenario there, the potential worst case scenario. And of course, one of the big questions is, we could have locked in a smaller loss after the second goal. So that's something to just think about with regards to this strategy. If we want to run tests just locking in the loss rather than leaving it in on the over 3.5 goals. Anyway, this is all stuff to keep in mind. Thankfully, we're not risking our real money on this one. So anyway, a bit of a setback with the strategy, but anyway, let's get it locked in and we will see what the next one does. And we got a new market, Hoffenheim against Frankfurt. This market's looking pretty strong for goals, favouring goals, so could be a little bit risky for us. Anyway, let's see how this one goes. Keep in mind, when you're in the real markets, you can obviously look at XG to help guide your decision with regards to exiting. Now, anyway, look, we've got another early goal on this one after 15 minutes. Let's see what happens here on the next one. All right, there you go. We've got 2 early goals, so 24 minutes in. And so we're going to give it another go with regards to leaving all the loss on over 3.5 goals. We could take an instant loss of 92. However, we're going to leave the loss on this one. We're going to try and stick to that rule. Of course, like I said, if you look at the XG, look at the way the match is developing, you could decide on that one. Anyway, 2 early goals, it starts to make it feel like it makes more sense just to accept the loss at that particular point. Anyway, let's see what happens if we can get to the end of this one. 2-1 after 30 minutes. Not looking good, is it? Let's see what happens from here. And there you go. This is going to be a loss on this match. So we're going to get that locked in, and it's actually going to put our bank into a negative for this one. So this strategy, and see, the final score there was 3-2. So anyway, this strategy started fairly well, going for a bit of a rough patch at the moment. Okay, let's get it locked in. We're going to do a couple more trades, and then we're going to reassess. All right, we've got another market. This is from Japan, J-League 2. So over 3.5 goals here at 5.3. That's a pretty high price for it. So this can either be an easy win or it could be a potentially disastrous one. This is going to be interesting. All right, let's see. Let's see if we can get back into some sort of profit on this one. That's not good. That's really not good. 9 minutes in, an early goal to Nagasaki. So we're now down to our second life. Let's see what happens here. All right, well, that was it. We had the goal on 9 minutes. And that was the end of the scoring. So anyway, we actually managed to make 100% on that one. And so let's get it locked in. And then I do believe we're down to our final trade. And it will be the final trade of our little mini test. Of course, and I will remind everyone just to say in real life, you're not going to do just 10 trades and think you've got a winner or not. You're going to keep doing this for the long term, and the more trades you do, the better the better idea you're going to get about the viability of the strategy. This is just to keep the videos short and concise and hopefully entertaining. So anyway, let's get it locked in. We're going to bring up another market. All right, we got a match from Norway, Elite Serion Sarpsborg against Oslo, and let's see how this one goes. Final match, and it's going to kind of make or break our little test, isn't it? If we get a loss on this one, we're going to get a loss overall. We know that for sure. Anyway, let's see what happens. 0-0 at kickoff. Let's press the next goal button, and let's see the timing of that next goal. Okay, not good. Not a good start at all, is it? 16 minutes in, and we've got a goal against us. We don't want to see these early goals. Let's see what the second goal does. And that's not good. Okay, so we are now in a position where we're going to leave all of that loss on the over 3.5 goals. And now we're going to see what happens. What happens from here? Are we going to end up with a profit or a loss? All right. Okay. We got to the end. 2-0, the final score. We didn't have to take that loss in the end. Let's get this locked in. And then we'll take a quick look at the tracker and just give some final thoughts on this strategy. And let's have a quick review of this. So what's interesting, we can actually look at the loss. The loss we took on this was... our average loss was 124, so we can adjust that just to get an idea of the ROI, and let's just assess it. I mean, it's made the smallest profit, it's got the lowest win rate also, and also the lowest ROI on that third strategy. So it's quite interesting because for all of them, I thought this one had the highest potential to be the most successful. Now, would I totally write off this strategy just based on this? No, I mean, look, number one, of course, you need to do more trades to get an idea of this. I've seen a lot of strategies after 10 trades being a loss and then be dramatically profitable later on. So you're not going to write it off just based on this. But also, I think that there was a few things we learned from that. I do think if you get that second goal, you're probably better off locking in the loss after the second goal, rather than trying to leave it all on over 3.5 goals, because you kind of have to think, if we've already had 2 goals and they're early on, then there is a strong probability we're going to get 2 further goals and take a bigger loss. So we're better off taking a smaller loss earlier on. That's definitely something I would like to test going forwards. And of course, just the general thought is that when you're actually in the real markets, you can take a look at obviously our pre-match statistics to profile these matches, but also the XG. The XG could hopefully guide us after that second goal, because if it's 2 goals but the XG is low, you might want to take that chance of just saying, well, yeah, they scored 2 goals, but it's been against the XG. They're not going to score 2 more. I'll leave it on the over 3.5 goals. If the XG is high, you can assume there's going to be more goals, and you could just lock in a smaller loss, and it could be some sort of variant or just a different way to vary the strategy based on how it's developing.
But anyway, lots of food for thought, and we could obviously we could be here all day practicing this strategy and testing out different theories and all that sort of thing. But anyway, that is why the football trading simulator has been invented, so you can test your own strategy ideas, and you could do it till the cows come home if you really want to. So as said, if you do want it, it's available at the moment, and I suggest you grab it, because it's been the type of thing which has been available for periods, and then it's not been available for long periods and so on. But at the time of putting out this video, it is available. You can get it at the link in the description. You just need Microsoft Excel to make it work. We strongly suggest using Microsoft Excel for the best experience of it. You just upload the file and then you can get going on this. You've obviously got lifetime access to it. It works offline, also. So yeah, and the main idea, you can practice your football trading. If you're a beginner, you can practice. If you're a bit more intermediate or advanced, that's when you might want to try out your new strategy theories, and you can test these over and over again on specific matches. And bottom line is, you're going to save time and save money when you're testing strategies out in the wild, or you're practicing your football trading out in the wild. Also, it's inevitably going to cost you money if you make mistakes, but also you've got to wait around for that match to kick off or get going, and you've got to wait maybe 2 hours for that match to complete to get an answer to your theory. Where if you have a theory, you can test it on a football trading simulator within 90 seconds. So anyway, as said, that link is in the description. It's a very, very fun tool, and it's the perfect thing to have for football traders, young and new. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed checking this out. Do click the like button to support the channel, and if you like this type of video, maybe we'll do another one in the future. But while you're here, there's more great content for you to check out, and there is a very good video on the screen right now, which is another deep dive, which I strongly suggest you grab another nice cold beer for. And then I'll see you in the next video.